Hello once again. Welcome back to the show. Previously on the show, I reviewed the Capcom Fighting Classics Street Fighter 2 Turbo, as well as Street Fighter Alpha 2 for the Super Nintendo. Well, I'm going to go back to the Super Nintendo Street Fighter games and review the next one that came in between those two, Super Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo. This was my first Street Fighter 2 game I owned for my Super Nintendo. Even though I had played Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Street Fighter 2 before it. But anyway, I had lots of fun playing this growing up with my younger sister and me. And currently, as of this recording, my younger sister is actually in China on vacation, and I joked, "Look out for Chun-Li," but she kind of laughed at it. She kind of thought that was funny. But anyway, let's roll those fancy credits and go do some hadokens, shurikens, and lightning bolt kicks and spinning pile drivers and all that fun stuff. Super Street Fighter 2 was released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. In it, this is a port of the arcade version, although at this time, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo had come out, but had none of the features from that game. Anyway, a couple characters had new moves, and some had good and bad changes to their moves. For instance, Ryu, besides having a blue fireball, he now has a red fireball. What's cool is that move came about because in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I think in Street Fighter 2 for the arcade, and I think this glitch was put in Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the SNES. So there's a glitch where when Ryu threw his fireball or hadouken, sometimes they would be red, besides blue. Although in that game, there wasn't any change. And also to note, Chun-Li's fireball, she still has her fireball in Super Street Fighter 2, but the motion needed to execute the move has been changed. In Street Fighter 2 Turbo, in the previous Street Fighter 2 Turbo, it was a half circle motion, I think from back to towards and punch. Whereas in this game, in Super Street Fighter 2, it's now a charge motion, where you hold back for about 2 gaming seconds, not real seconds, I think 2 timer seconds, and then push towards and punch. And another note to me that I've noticed is that Zangief, that the Russian wrestler, his move, the double spinning lariat or the turbo spinning clothesline, in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, when you did the turbo clothesline, you would be invulnerable to low attacks. Well, mainly just low kicks and low regular attacks. And for some unknown reason, they took it out. They made you vulnerable. That won't work in this Super Street Fighter 2, which is boggling. And also changed in this game is Ryu and Ken's air hurricane kick. It's been modified because in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, you could, when you input it in the air, it would carry you across the screen. Whereas now in Super Street Fighter 2, it doesn't do that. You do it, it's changed, and you'll see what I mean when you do it, which can make trouble when you want to do certain combos. So some combos using the new Hurricane Kick can't be done, which is quite odd. And as I've mentioned, around this time this game was released for the home consoles, there was a Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which gave the game a little bit more speed. Well, to counteract that, actually for the SNES and Genesis versions, Capcom put in some speed settings. But though, I think because the Genesis CPU was a little bit faster, they made it a little bit faster, but only by 1 star. As you see, the Super Nintendo has 3 stars of speed, whereas the Genesis version has 4 stars of selectable speed. But but compared to Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which both versions had up to 10 stars of selectable speed, it's a little bit on the slow side if you like speed. And also to note, even though I do have both the SNES and Genesis versions of Super Street Fighter 2, and I am basically reviewing the Super Nintendo version. Also to note, the Genesis version also has a mode where instead of like in the Super Nintendo version, you can only, when you do arcade mode, but basically it's like Super Battle or whatever, it's basically arcade mode. You can only battle 12 of the old warriors. But in the Genesis version, you can battle, also you have an option to battle all of them. So you can go through the whole game battling all 16 characters for added challenge. So keep that in mind when choosing which version to get. And also to note on the Genesis version, I know this is the Super Nintendo version, but I feel I should mention this. The Genesis version also has, I think, group battle. I think it's called group. No, wait, no, never mind. I should say that this is on both versions of the game. Totally spaced out for a second. Sorry about that. But both versions actually have what's called group battle mode. I think group battle mode, and that mode was exclusive. It originated on the Genesis when back when they put a Street Fighter 2 Turbo, known as Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, which was the Genesis version of the Street Fighter 2 Turbo that the Super Nintendo got. What's cool is they both have that, where the different modes where you can, like, I think they have like match play and elimination. And match play is where I think it's where you match up. You each pick a certain number of characters, and then you match them up and to see who wins each match. And I know I'm kind of not saying that right, but it's pretty fun. And then elimination, the other mode in the group battle, is where you pick a certain amount of characters. And then you just, if you both pick 5 characters, if one guy loses, he's eliminated. So you keep going down the line until all of your opponents or your characters are eliminated, and whoever is left is the winner. And also, another option in both versions, most notably, this Super Nintendo version, is tournament mode, where you can pick a character and go through a single. I want to say a single elimination tournament. But I think if you lose once, you play one more match, I think. But anyway, you basically play to see who is the best Street Fighter between you all. And also, I think up to 8, you can have 8. I hope, even though I haven't had friends to try this out with, up to 8, you can choose up to 8 players to play with you. So hopefully it should be, again, I really haven't tried this with 8 human players, but up to 8 people can play, and you can play through a tournament style setup, which is pretty cool. And also, there's a time trial as well, where you pick a character and try to beat your opponent the fastest, which is cool as well. Control-wise, this game controls very well. All 16 characters from the arcade game are in here, so you get the main 12 from Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Champion Edition, plus the new challengers, at least new for 1994 anyway, DJ, Cammy, Fei Long, and T-Hawk. And they're pretty cool. I'm actually a big Rue fighter, so I'm not too good at those 4, but hey, they're there if you need them. Well, control-wise, they control well. Hadokens go off like they should. Shoryukens go off. Kikokens, Chun-Li's fireball, goes off pretty well. So you shouldn't have any trouble pulling off these moves. Well, anyway, truthfully, I really enjoyed this. I actually really enjoyed this game. As I mentioned in my opening monologue of sorts, my opening for this episode, this was the first game I actually purchased. The first Street Fighter 2 game I purchased. And I really enjoyed it. Even though I had played the previous games in the Street Fighter 2 library. And of course, so to note, if you're watching this, if my younger sister, also known as the executive producer / consultant in the show, this, and I don't know if and I don't know if you've seen it in the footage yet. I have played. She was a big Chun-Li player, and I was playing it on a little bit higher difficulty, and Chun-Li pretty much took me to school for a little bit. So there, Lauren, that's my executive producer, by the way. There you go, Lauren. Just to make you happy, I hope I'm showing footage of me getting my butt handed to me for a little bit. I was able to eventually beat her, but there, I hope you're happy. But anyway, without that aside, this game is fun. Granted, if you've already gotten Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and you kind of like, I like it. And if you're more of a complete collector, and if you want 4 more characters added to your Street Fighter 2 fighting, pick this game up. Well, anyway, with that said, I give my game this I give this game a recommendation scale of recommended. And as I usually say, if you live in around South St. Paul, Minnesota, or the Minnesota area, please visit my awesome friends at Level Up Games. Besides video games, they have collectible card games, graphic novels, comics, tabletop board games, among other awesome stuff. And yes, they should still have pinball, I believe. And of course, so they just remodeled, they just upgraded their space, so it looks even more awesome. And of course, and again, I think I have to get a better picture of it. I think, hopefully this is a new picture, if not, there might be the old picture before they expanded, but anyway, the picture of where they are is over here, and their website and address is down below here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, awesome steak. And if you have not subscribed and you like what you see, please do so. And also, I have an Instagram account and a Twitter account as well, and a Facebook fan and group page. And that stuff is down below as well. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching. And as usual, stay tuned for the next episode of Power Up. Hadouken! Hadouken!